Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Meredith, and I am the manager of commercial lending here at the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar entitled Where to Start When Starting a Business, Essential Considerations Before Filing Formation Documents. Today we're going to be talking about some of the common questions that new business owners have to answer, and then maybe a little bit of uncommon questions for those new small business owners. But before we dive into the meat of today's presentation, I'd like to take a moment to talk to you a little bit more about what SPC is as an organization. SPC is a regional planning agency. We are a metropolitan planning organization responsible for all federal and state transportation and economic development funds that have been allocated to the region. We are a local development district designated by the Appalachian Regional Commission, ARC, serving 9 counties in southwestern PA. And we're also a core funded partner and fiscal agent for Southwestern PA's Partnership for Regional Economic Performance, or the PREP program. So we do wear a lot of different hats, but from an economic development perspective, we're here to help small businesses start, grow, and prosper in the southwestern Pennsylvania region. The agenda for today is rather simple. We're going to be talking about common questions to ask before starting a business. We're going to be talking about some of those uncommon questions to consider, and why you need a business plan, as well as where to go to start one. And then we'll have a brief Q&A afterwards. This meeting is being recorded, so if you happen to miss the live stream of it, you can also take a look at it on our YouTube page. It will be posted on our YouTube page shortly after the meeting concludes. So let's dive in. Common questions for new small business owners. I think the first question is the most common, and usually the first one that anybody figures out before they even decide to start a business, is what is my product or service? But the second one, how am I going to provide that product or service to my customers? Is it a brick and mortar location? Will you have your goods or services sold exclusively online? Are you a service-related industry that is going to necessitate you making service calls with a vehicle or something like that? And then how do you drive traffic to your business? What is going to cause customers to come through your front door? Is it going to be a better quality product? Is it going to be a lower cost product? Will your business model add convenience? Say, for instance, if you're doing a pickup, drop-off, dry cleaning type of business, is that what's going to differentiate you from your competitors? And then how are you going to market that business to your new customers? Does it make sense in 2023 to market your business to your customers with a TV ad buy on the 3 major networks in the Pittsburgh area, ABC, CBS, and NBC? Or in 2023, does it make more sense to have a little bit more of a robust marketing plan where you include television ads as well as social media advertisements? Maybe you cut an ad before YouTube videos, things like that. How are you going to market your business to the new customers? And then how will I know if my business is successful? This is a big question for a lot of new entrepreneurs because uh, a lot of people tend to measure success with profit. And the problem with that is that when you're a new small business, profit can take a couple of years to come, right? You might operate your entire first year in business, what is known as in the red, right? Losing money. And you might have to adjust some things after that first year in business, cut down on some expenses, whatnot, to get your company in the black or making money. So while you are doing that, while you're figuring out how to be profitable, how do you measure your business's success? Well, I, for one, would think that a growing customer base, even in the face of net losses, can be a good sign for business, as long as the business owner knows that they need to cut expenses to move that company in the black. So watch your customer base, see if you're getting repeat customers, see if you're getting all new customers. All of those things are good signs towards a healthy business. These are the common questions that a lot of businesses ask. Now I want to touch on some uncommon questions that business owners will need to ask themselves. Some uncommon questions to consider. How much is it going to cost to operate my business? Um, every business uh, requires some funding to operate, right? There are people who are in business and they say, I'm not motivated by money. And that's great, right? But what they really mean is that they are not motivated by their company's profits. Every single business must make some amount of money in order to keep their business open, right? Second bullet goes a little bit along with the first. How am I going to manage my cash flow? Proper management of cash flow can ensure continued operations, even with periods of no or low profit. But improper management of cash flow can signal that the business is going to soon close its doors. So let me give you a really basic example of this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you own a candle manufacturer, or you've started to manufacture candles uh, for your business. And the main way that you drive traffic to your business is to go to different vendor shows, different craft shows. So you've been going to craft shows and it costs $5 to make a candle. And you decide that with every candle, you're going to put it in a nice package for your customers. So it costs $5 to make the candle and then another $5 for the fancy packaging, right? So you decide that you're going to sell your candles for $10 per candle, right? Selling your candles for $10 per product is basically going to ensure that you have the cash flow to continue operations, right? You have the cash flow to basically replenish your inventory after you've sold it at a particular vendor show. However, if you sell your candles for exactly the amount of money that it costs to make them, you're not going to be making any profit. All right. So maybe that's year one for your business. In year two, you wise up a little bit. You say, okay, well, it costs $5 to make a candle. And if I just cut the cost of the decorative bag that I put it in, I could make some money off of the sale. So let me, instead of putting it in a decorative bag, let me put it in a plain brown bag that costs, $2 per bag to package, right? If you keep your if you keep selling your candles at $10 a candle and it costs $5 to make it and $2 to put it in a bag, right, to pay for the bag, then essentially what you're saying is you're going to be making $3 of profit off of the sale of every candle, right? Again, this is a very simple example. Well, let's fast forward to year three. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that the cost to make a candle rises to $8, right? And the cost for the brown bag rises to 6, right? Let's say inflation takes effect. So now, in order to break even, you need to essentially sell your candle for $14 per unit in order to be able to replenish your inventory, after you sell it at a given craft show. If you keep selling your product at $10 per candle and you don't take into account the cost that it takes to make the candle and package it, the increases in those costs, then you're not going to have the money to continue operating. Again, it's a very simple example, but I think it really illustrates the proper management of cash flow. And the second thing that it illustrates is the negative effects that inflation can have on a small business owner, right? So, third bullet, how long will my company's operating or inventory cycle be? This is an interesting question that I don't think a lot of people think about a lot of times. Um, you're going to have a much shorter inventory or operating cycle if you run a restaurant than if you run a shipyard. And in general, the longer your inventory or operating cycle is, the greater probability that you're going to need working capital to pay for operating expenses like payroll, rent or mortgage, and your business's utility bills. So it's one of those things that you need to be cognizant of, how long those cycles are going to be. It is going to differ by industry, but you need to get a handle on that so that you can have, again, proper cash flow management so that you don't need, excess working capital because of that improper cash flow management. And then who am I competing with in my industry sector? This is a little bit of an uncommon question, but more and more common as more small businesses open up. Unless you are the first business of its kind, like a Facebook, like an Instagram, or something like that, unless you are the first business of your kind, 9 times out of 10, you are going to have competition wherever you place your business. If it's a restaurant, if you're serving American food, what's the next restaurant that also serves American food? What's their pricing like? What are their products like? Something like that. So you need to do an analysis of who you're competing with in your industry sector as well. And that actually sort of uh, transitions nicely into my next slide here, because we're going to talk a little bit about a business plan and why it's so important for you to have one. Right? So creating a business plan. The 4 bullets on the screen are essentially the most common sections that are in a business plan. All right. And it's important to note that a business plan is going to be broken down into at least these 4 sections. And it's actually more likely to be broken down into more sections. So something like the following. So a section for the executive summary, a section to describe the business, a section for the markets that the business will be operating in, a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A section on the management team and personnel. What kind of experience do they have? And then we're going to have a section on the products or service offered, the marketing plan, and then finally the business financials, your financial projections over the first 3 years of your business. And it is crucial that you have one of these business plans drawn up, because I can speak from experience for SPC. When we fund a startup business, we require that startup business to have a business plan and 3 years worth of business financials. And a lot of private institutions also require the same thing for startup businesses. Any business that has been in business for 3 years or less is considered to be a startup. Okay. Um, so it's incredibly crucial that you have that kind of business plan. Now, where you go to get a business plan done is a small business development center. And that is really the next step. The SBDC network, the Small Business Development Center network, exists to assist new entrepreneurs with crafting their business plan and financial projections. And it's important to note that a fully formed business plan is first of all up to 20 pages in length and can take up to 4 to 6 weeks to complete. So take your time with it. Really talk to your SBDC consultant. They will give you, homework, things that they're going to need you to do to move that business plan along. In terms of how I handle small businesses that are just starting up, if you call me up tomorrow and you say, "Hey, I've got a great idea for a new small business," I'll talk to you. I'll say, "Do you have a business plan? Do you have financial projections?" If you do not, I then refer you to one of the area's small business development centers. We have 4 of them in southwestern Pennsylvania. And then I put a tickler in my calendar 6 weeks from that date to follow up with you to see how that's going. Because if you've completed your business plan and financial projections by that time, then we can take the next step in talking about the financials and the lending for your small business. So the next step is to talk to your local small business development center. Like I said, southwestern Pennsylvania has 4 small business development centers in the area. One at the University of Pittsburgh, one at Duquesne University, one at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, and one at Penn West Clarion, in the northern section of the southwestern PA area. All 4 of them do an absolutely fantastic job with our new entrepreneurs, and I would be happy to connect you with any of them if you reach out to me. So, with that said, that is my content for today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. That is my contact information on the screen. I also want to plug our new online loan application. If you go to the second link listed, the link listed in the second bullet, and you click on that link, and then you sign up for a free account, you can complete our pre-application questionnaire, which can help you understand our lending requirements, and it helps us understand your project. If after completing that pre-application questionnaire, it appears that you will qualify for SPC financing, then what I will do is I will reach out to you within 72 hours to talk about your project. Um, and then finally, anybody that watches these webinars either on demand or they attend live, I always invite anybody to connect with me on LinkedIn. I love facilitating conversation that way and meeting new small business owners there. And with that, for those of you who are watching on demand, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to discuss any projects that you might have.